On this episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, I show you how to swap a suspension on a Lotus Elise, and my car gets brand new wheels and tires in preparation for grid life. What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive. It is a very rainy day here, and it's not a good day for driving, but it is a good day for installing parts on your car. So I'm super pumped to start putting things on my car. In my last episode, I talked about all these parts that I bought, and because basically I'm doing grid life and I'm going to be competing in time attack. So the first thing that we're going to be doing today is installing an Exige suspension on my Lotus Elise, and that's basically a little bit of an upgrade from what is stock on this car. It's a little lower, a little stiffer, and should hopefully help me out on the track. After that, when it comes time to put wheels and tires on, I got these brand new rubber. These are Hankook RS3s, and I hope they look sweet on this car. But I'm going to show you guys how to install the suspension first, so let's get to it. So let's start off our video as we do every install video and go over the parts that you're going to need for this install. Fortunately, this install is super easy, so it's not too much in the way of tools that you're going to need. So I have two 17mm wrenches. The tops and bottoms are both 17mm on these the bolts for the shocks. So we'll need one to obviously hold the bolt and one to loosen the nut on the other end. You're also going to need a torque wrench because you're going to want to put the proper amount of torque back on these bolts when you install the new ones. This is a 17mm socket with an extension, which should help us out in the rear. And I like to put anti-seize on everything I take off and put back on my car. So if you don't already have some, get some of that too. But this is basically it. Oh, and obviously your new shocks. Step 1, break your lug nuts loose and jack up the car. Time to take these wheels off, and I should have mentioned, hey, it's always good to have an impact around to make quick work of this job. Not quite a NASCAR change, but hey, close enough. So remember when I said this install is super easy? Well, I wasn't lying. Check this out. One bolt here and one bolt down here. So 2 bolts and we will have this front left shock off, and yeah, let's get to it. So these are 17s. I'm just gonna break, it doesn't really matter which one you do first, but I'm gonna break the top first, break the top one loose first, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's put one wrench on the bolt head, another wrench on the nut, and just cram down in this. They're supposed to be spec'd to 45 foot-pounds, so it's not crazy torque. Kind of an awkward position, though. There we go. There, she's loose. And I'm obviously using a ratcheting wrench here, which should hopefully help me tremendously. The only thing you need to be careful of before you remove this is just to look where these spacers are. There's spacers here that are in between the shock and the mount, and they're in a certain direction, so you just want to take note of that. I'm obviously going to point it out here in the video, so if you don't pay attention when you take them off, you can check out the video and see how they're supposed to be installed, but just take note of these spacers before you pull this bolt out. I had to take a break for a second. I don't know if you could hear in the background, but there's all kinds of sirens going on. It is like total chaos because it's raining right now. And I'm just admiring my 328i looking all pretty over there in the rain. Sorry you have to be in the rain. I'm working on my Lotus. Don't judge me. Come on, people, this is the Midwest. It's just rain. How bad can this be? Anyways, back to the task at hand. I'm going to grab this spacer so it doesn't get lost in the abyss that is this car. And I'm going to pull the bolt out and grab this spacer, hopefully. There we go. 2 spacers, a bolt, washer. Here's the other end, another washer. I'm just going to put these back together so they don't get lost. Okay, so that's the top one down. Let's just do the bottom. Okay, so the bottom bolt, you have to get a little creative with the wrench. I had to come down from up top there because this is boxed in, if you could see. So you can't approach this nut from the bottom. So I sort of approached it from the top, which I'm pretty sure is the only way you can do it. So that's resting on there and holding the bolt. I'm going to cheat and use my impact here, which is conveniently 17 millimeter, which is the same size as the lug nuts. So thank you, Lotus, for being smart. And I'm just going to blow this off here. Boom. Bolt. And I'm missing a, there it is, washer. Washer. Nut bolt. Yay. And check it out, how easy was that? Now the shock can come out somehow. I'm going to go up first. As the world ends outside, we are replacing shocks on an Elise. The important things in life. Yes. One front shock. Let's put the new one on. Alright, I went ahead and sauced up the bolts with anti-seize. Like I said before, I'd recommend just anti-seizing everything. And the shock is obviously just going to go in the same way that you took out the old one. Keeping in mind, as my light falls, keeping in mind that the painted part goes up top. Okay, I got my shock in place, so I'll take my bolt with my washer, and I'm gonna have to do some finger yoga here. These spacers go like so. So there's one. Might have to raise up the shock a little bit. Uh-oh. There we go. There's the bolt going in. And then before I get to the other side, just make sure I need to put this spacer here. Might need to do some jiggling. And there we go. Bolt's on the other side. Let's just put our washer and nut and before we tighten down fully, we'll just put in the bottom one. Alright, so I just need to center this like so. Stick her in. And this side, washer, nut, and I'm gonna have to push it back a little bit because this end link is kind of in the way. And it will not let me put the nut on if it's fully extended. Alright, sweet. So now let's do reverse and tighten these bad boys up. I'm going to get my torque wrench out. This is, I just set it to 46 pound-feet of torque, and that's what's required as far as torque goes on these. So you can get a ratchet on this side. A little bit of a pain, but not too bad. Then I'm just going to throw a box stand wrench on that side and torque her down. Click, click. That one's torqued. Let's move to the bottom one. Click, click, click. Boom. That is a new shock on my Elise. That's the front one done. Let's move to the back. So the back is basically the same concept as the front. There's obviously only 2 bolts, 1, 2. And there's a little less room up here because of this wheel liner, I guess you could call it. But it's not too bad at all. So I'm just going to start with the bottom one here. And I could really easily take this off with a impact. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. That's the bottom one. Let's move to the top one. Just gonna use my ratcheting wrench here. I'm just gonna use my gear wrench here. And there. Might have to stand up for this one, get a little more torque on this guy. There we go. There we go. Bottom one's out. Now we should be able to remove the top one really easily, which we are. Sweet. Bolts are out and shock is out. Super easy. As always, I sauced up the bolts with anti-seize, and I'm just gonna do the top bolt first because I think it's just a little easier to put the top bolt in and hang it from there. So now it's just gonna hang. Now I'll put the bottom bolt in, and it might take a little bit of messing around with this suspension in order to get this bolt hole lined up. So I'm just gonna have to raise this, move this over, bam, put that guy through there, and now just put the nuts on the other side. Same as the front, 45 foot-pounds for these bolts. So let's go ahead and actually I'm going to use an extension on this one because this suspension arm sort of gets in the way and hits the head of the torque wrench. So I'm just going to extend it out a little bit, give me a little more room. A couple clicks onto the top one. All right, let's torque down this top bolt. There we go. Voila. All right, so that's how you do the front and the back. I'm going to repeat it on the other side. I'm super anxious to get this done, so I'm going to try and do it real quick, and then we're going to drop this car down and see what's good. I've been dying to put these wheels on. It is finally time. Just line up these bolts. All right, it's time to lower it down. I'm super anxious, but let's see what it looks like. Bam. Oh man. I love this, man. It should settle a little bit. It's gonna be a little high right now. That's the way it is, but I'm super pumped. I think it looks great, nice and racy. All right, I'm super pumped with how this turned out. I absolutely love the look of these wheels and tires on the car, a little bit lower suspension. The suspension was only 200 bucks on the Lotus forums, so I think it'll be a nice little improvement for that. And then I needed newer tires. The tires that I had on there were pretty crap. So these RS3s are super sticky and will be awesome for the track. And I really like the way it looks. You know, they're wider, they're more functional. It's awesome. I'm super pumped. I can't wait to get to the track. Now there are a couple more things that I'm gonna do to the car before I take it to the track, but that's gonna be on the next episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, guys, as always, and we'll see you next time.